Welcome to Tech with Kaushik. This is part 13 of our complete practice question series for the AZ-400 Microsoft Certified DevOps Engineer Expert exam. Choose your answer before the timer ends. Then review the correct answer, explanation, and exam tip. Let us begin part 13. Question number 540. Scenario. A DevOps engineer is configuring governance controls on an Azure Pipelines production environment. Match each environment check to its functionality. The available source items are as follows. Source item 1, manual approval. Source item 2, exclusive lock. Source item 3, invoke REST API. The destination requirements are as follows. Destination A, pauses a pipeline run until designated users explicitly permit the deployment to proceed. Destination B, prevents multiple pipeline runs from modifying the target environment simultaneously. Destination C, queries an external system, such as a ServiceNow change request, to determine if deployment criteria are met. The correct mapping is manual approval leads to A. Exclusive lock leads to B. Invoke REST API leads to C. Here's why. Manual approvals pause the run for designated users to accept or reject. Exclusive locks serialize deployments, ensuring only one pipeline modifies an environment at a time. Invoke REST API evaluates external API responses, like ITIL change management tickets, to automate governance. Exam tip. Environment checks validate constraints before a deployment job starts, keeping governance decoupled from the YAML pipeline execution code. Question number 541. Scenario. An Azure Pipelines process integrates with Azure Key Vault to retrieve deployment secrets. Evaluate each statement. Select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Statement 1. The Azure Key Vault at 2 task automatically masks retrieved secret values in the pipeline execution logs. Statement 2. Pipeline variables mapped to Key Vault secrets can be passed to inline scripts as clear text environment variables by default. Statement 3. A service connection backed by Workload Identity Federation can authorize the pipeline's access to the Key Vault. Statement 1. The Azure Key Vault at 2 task automatically masks retrieved secret values in the pipeline execution logs. The answer is yes. The task maps Key Vault secrets to secret pipeline variables, which are masked. Statement 2. Pipeline variables mapped to Key Vault secrets can be passed to inline scripts as clear text environment variables by default. The answer is no. Secret variables are intentionally excluded from environment variables by default and must be explicitly mapped via the env block. Statement 3. A service connection backed by Workload Identity Federation can authorize the pipeline's access to the Key Vault. The answer is yes. Workload Identity is the recommended architecture for authorizing pipeline access to Azure Key Vault. Exam tip. Always remember that pipeline secrets are not automatically passed to scripts as environment variables. You must explicitly inject them using the env block in the YAML task. Question number 542. Scenario. An Azure Function app must deploy automatically whenever code is pushed to the main branch of a GitHub repository. The solution should use the native app service deployment integration. What should be configured? The available options are as follows. Option A, configure Deployment Center with GitHub as the source and select the repository and main branch for continuous deployment. Option B, configure a manual zip deployment with no source control integration. Option C, create an Azure Board subscription for GitHub commits. Option D, add a scheduled availability test to application insights. The correct answer is Option A. Configure Deployment Center with GitHub as the source and select the repository and main branch for continuous deployment. Here's why. Deployment Center can connect the Function app to GitHub and configure a workflow that deploys new commits from the selected branch automatically. Why are the other options not correct? B. Manual zip deployment does not react to source control commits. C. Azure Board subscriptions provide work tracking notifications. D. Availability tests monitor an endpoint and do not deploy code. Exam tip. Use source control integration or an explicit CI/CD workflow when every qualifying commit must deploy automatically. Question number 543. Scenario: a public web application must be tested periodically from outside the application environment. The operations team must receive an email when the endpoint does not return a successful HTTP response. Which application insights capability should be configured? The available options are as follows. Option A, Application Map. Option B, Profiler. Option C, Availability Tests with an Alert Rule and Email Action. Option D, VM Insights Map. The correct answer is option C, Availability Tests with an Alert Rule and Email Action. Here's why. Application Insights availability tests send periodic requests from external test locations. An alert rule can invoke an action group that emails the team when the endpoint does not return the expected successful response. Why are the other options not correct? A. Application Map visualizes application component and dependency relationships. B. Profiler identifies performance hot paths. D. VM Insights Map visualizes processes and infrastructure dependencies rather than testing an HTTP endpoint. Exam tip: use availability tests for synthetic endpoint monitoring and action groups for notification delivery. Question number 544. Scenario: a Docker file uses a .NET SDK image to publish an ASP.NET Core application and then starts a second stage. The second stage currently also uses the SDK image 01 from MC or .microsoft.com/.net/SDK:8 A0AS build 02 copy /src03 run.net publish /src/app docsproj C release o/out 04 from MC or .microsoft.com/.net/SDK:8 A005 copy from equals build /out /app 06 workter /app 07 entrypony.net app.dll. The final image must be minimized without changing the build stage. Which line should be modified? The available options are as follows. Option A, line 7. Option B, line 3. Option C, line 1. Option D, line 4. The correct answer is option D, line 4. Here's why. The final stage should use the ASP.NET Core runtime image rather than the SDK image. The runtime image excludes compilers and build tools, reducing the final image size. Why are the other options not correct? A. The entry point does not determine whether SDK tooling remains in the image. B. The publish command is required to produce the deployable application. C. The build stage requires the SDK image. Exam tip: use an SDK image for compilation and a runtime-only image for the final container stage. Question number 545. Scenario: a subscription scope ARM template creates two resource groups. The template defines one nested Microsoft resources/deployments resource that targets the first resource group and another nested deployment that targets the second resource group. Each nested deployment uses incremental mode and deploys that group's workload resources. For each statement, select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Statement 1. The design can deploy resources to both resource groups in one root deployment. Statement 1. The design can deploy resources to both resource groups in one root deployment. The answer is yes. Microsoft resources/deployments resources can target different resource groups from the root deployment. Exam tip: use scope deployment resources or bicep modules when one deployment must target multiple resource groups. Question number 546. Scenario: a subscription scope ARM template creates two resource groups. The root template invokes two linked templates. Each linked deployment explicitly targets one resource group and deploys that group's application resources by using incremental mode. For each statement, select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Statement 1. The linked template design can deploy the complete solution across both resource groups. Statement 1. The linked template design can deploy the complete solution across both resource groups. The answer is yes. Linked templates support scope deployments to different resource groups when the target scope is configured correctly. Exam tip. Nested templates embed child content. Linked templates retrieve child templates from external locations. Both can participate in scope deployments. Question number 547. Scenario. A single Azure Artifacts feed contains package versions at different quality levels. Developers may consume packages under development, but production consumers must see only versions that have been tested and approved. Which Azure Artifacts feature should be used? The available options are as follows. Option A, upstream sources. Option B, feed views. Option C, local symbols. Option D, global symbols. The correct answer is option B, feed views. Here's why. Feed views expose selected immutable package versions to different audiences, allowing development packages to remain in at local while approved versions are promoted to at pre-release or at release. Why are the other options not correct? A. Upstream sources import and cache packages from external feeds. C. Local symbols are unrelated to package release visibility. D. Global symbols do not provide Azure Artifacts package promotion. Exam tip. Use views to promote package quality levels within one feed. Question number 548. Scenario. An Azure pipeline deploys infrastructure through an ARM template. A password required by the template is stored in Azure Key Vault. The password must not be copied into the repository, pipeline YAML, or ordinary pipeline variables. Which deployment design should be used? The available options are as follows. Option A. Retrieve the secret with an inline PowerShell command and print the result. Option B. Store the password in an unprotected template parameter file. Option C. Use a PowerShell task to create a second copy of the secret during every deployment. Option D. Reference the Key Vault secret from the ARM template deployment parameter configuration. The correct answer is option D. Reference the Key Vault secret from the ARM template deployment parameter configuration. Here's why. The deployment passes a Key Vault reference rather than the secret value. Azure Resource Manager retrieves the secret during deployment, preventing the credential from being stored in source-controlled parameter files or ordinary pipeline variables. Why are the other options not correct? A. Printing the result exposes the credential in pipeline output. B. An unprotected parameter file can leak the password through source control. C. Creating another secret copy does not prevent the pipeline from handling credential material. Exam tip. Keep secret values outside templates and pipelines, pass secure references, or use secretless workload identities whenever supported. You have completed part 13 of the AZ-400 practice series. Continue your preparation by opening the complete playlist and watching the remaining parts in sequence. Please like this video, subscribe to Tech with Kaushik, and enable notifications for more certification exam preparation content. Share your score, questions, or feedback in the comments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next part.